the fires, they were minimal and they burned up quickly. Now, I was talking to you earlier and I was saying, I burn kerosene for a big bonfire that we set off every December 21st to welcome the return of the light. And when I throw kerosene on that fire, it's going like that. It burns up in 20 seconds. So, these tales of jet fuel, which is kerosene, that's all it is, slightly more refined, nothing fancy. It doesn't burn any hotter than regular kerosene. That's the beauty of it as a fuel. It's cheap and easy to make and very plentiful. The smoke was black. What is black smoke indicative of? A cool fire. A hot fire has clear smoke, a really hot fire. A fire hot enough to melt steel or weaken steel is clear smoke or very light white, not black like this smoke was. I mean, that's what I use the kerosene for, to light the wood on fire, and that's going to be the actual fire. So what that jet fuel did is it started fires in the building, but it was office materials, paper and fabric, carpet, actually ceiling tile won't even burn. Very little in the building itself would burn. It's the contents of a building that burns. The building was sprinklered, for crying out loud, and it's steel. Steel whips heat away. It's designed to resist a fire. There's no such thing as a building collapsing due to fire. I just have such animosity for the people at NIST and the people that support that. I'm sure those people know better, but their job depended on them taking an end result and feeding information into their research that supported that and diffused any connection to anything other than that target. They had to get there. They had to convince the public that fires made those buildings come down, which is nothing could be farther from the truth. When Frank and I, when he got me up on the roof of the building, I saw what you had to go through. After that bombing, security was insanely tight. But then I start realizing who was in charge of that security. And there's so many connections. It's a tough thing to come to grips with. And I have, at first, I didn't care. Now I do care. These are ruthless people. They have no conscience. They have a concern to get their way. They have an agenda that needs to be tended to. Nothing gets in their way. Nothing. So am I a threat to them? Probably. I probably am a threat to them. But I'm such a minor threat. And they were, I got to give them credit. You got to give them credit. They were successful. They made it happen. They pulled it off. And I'm in awe, actually. That they're constantly doing research, into better weapons of war. And I'm sure that what happened that day was a test. And yeah, there was a couple of days there where people were admitting the truth and talking about explosions. When you talk to people who are in the business, who also appreciate the genius of what it took to take those buildings straight down. If someone were to knock down a building, at the very worst, if they threw several planes into the building and were able to weaken the building enough, the structure enough, it would have crumpled over. It might have tipped over. Maybe part of it would have fallen off, but it wouldn't come straight. And going out like this, I mean, it was so perfect. It couldn't have been more perfect. Demolitions of buildings mess up from time to time. This one didn't. 3 in a row. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Straight down into the footprint of the building and all broken up into nice and neat. And then that really ticked me off when they trucked it off. They took all the steel right away out to Staten Island and shipped it off to China. I didn't understand that. And that was actually, as that settled in, I really started to question my sanity. How could this be? We had Flight 800 go down in 200 feet of water off the coast of Long Island, and they went out with divers and they pulled every scrap of that airplane off the floor of the ocean and put it in a hangar and reassembled the whole plane. Why wasn't that done with one of the trade towers? Why didn't they examine the evidence? It was a crime scene. Hide everything from the public and make it a big secret. Cover it up for 50, 100 years, and it'll just go away. And that's kind of sad. And that's really why I want to be part of this movement. As much as I like to know how things work, I also like to know the truth. I'm a big believer in the truth being the thing that sets us free. If we can't ask our government for the truth, how dependable is that government? It's depressing. Yeah, I'm a proud American. I salute the flag. I'm proud of our history, but my eyes are open. I see her for all her greatness, and I see her for all her faults. This is a great country, and I'm truly a proud American. I served honorably in the Army. I have an honorable discharge. I never did anything to this country that would bring it shame. And I feel like what happened on 9/11 brings great shame on this nation that I love so. And I'll never, with my dying breath, I will be searching for the truth, asking whoever to come clean. I'm probably never going to get it, but I'm not going to stop trying.